understand, right? Everything lies with the process, right? Results are an after effect of going through a process. So
Sure.
I've always known that. And I was looking at my wife going through the process, and I was like, this woman is going to be successful. And if I want to be the husband of this woman or
Yeah.
continue dating this woman, I got to get my shit right, man. Say,
And I remember reading this other quote. It was saying something like every experience, whether you can view it as a good experience or a bad experience, because that experience in kind of societal standards that will be deemed as a bad experience. But that quote was saying that
yes,
like it's more like everything in life has a reason. It was along those lines, you know, that
yes,
actually in every experience you can
yeah,
draw even much more than you ever thought.
yes.
Even if it's the worst experience that you think is the worst, but you can draw out. So how do you come back from that? Like what was the lessons from that? Because like I said, you know, there are many students that are dabbling in that, in that kind of things, and some unfortunately they get excluded, then it becomes the
Yes.
end and everything like that.
I got
So,
excluded as well, by the way. Yeah, I got excluded. That
and you
2015, I got excluded.
were you able to come back?
Yeah, I appealed. I appealed, and
Yeah.
they took me back because also some of the reasons maybe why I was lashing out like that was actually because there were things happening at home, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was able to speak to the people because I was able to speak to the people and let them know, "Hore, I'm gonna do better," because that phase was out, you know. But unfortunately, you can't say the phase is out, you know. But yeah, that phase was out, and I was able to speak to them. They reinstated me, and yeah, I'll share more about how then my path to getting better and passing and continue on with my life, how that happened. Yeah, but I
Yeah.
did get excluded. Yeah.
So how do you come back, and what life lessons do you draw from that? And because there is someone who's going to watch this and they are going through the same
Yeah,
thing, what would you say to
sure.
that person who's right in the middle of it as we speak?
One thing I'd say first is weigh your options, because I do believe for a woman, and especially because we live in a society where women and men are liberated, right?
Yeah.
I would say if you are liberated enough to want to experience varsity to its fullest, weigh your risk. I think on my side, subconsciously, I did weigh my risk because I knew that NSFAS was going to pay for my fees the following year again if I fail. Um, if you are in a position where people at home are dependent on you, I can literally advise you to literally focus and finish, and then play around if you still have that edge to play around when you're working. Because I know a lot of people, women and men, that finished varsity and then started playing around, you know. So I think that was the first lesson. Always weigh your risk. The second lesson is you are what you are, you know. And sometimes for certain people, we are not built the same. For some people, in order to discover who and what they are, they need to do what their edges want them to do, you know. And if you are able to do that, and solely I'm speaking here on the side of university, you know, just being a kid and wanting to fuck around and all of that, you know. Do it wisely, because it's rough out here, you know.
Yeah.
Do it wisely, but if you have that edge of wanting to do it and you've weighed your risk, I think do it, man, because you will draw so much knowledge about yourself, especially if you are doing it responsibly. You will draw so much knowledge about yourself. So yeah, just do it. If you want to do it, do it. I am for that. And I think I will also tell my kids to go through that, because that's what varsity is about, right? People like us that don't have the sort of privilege to have a gap year and
Yeah.
find yourself. We have to
Sure.
find ourselves within the context of trying to improve ourselves. So while you're
Yeah.
improving your life and getting better, you still need to find yourself, you know. So I don't see anything wrong in finding yourself while you're still getting better. So do it. Another lesson I got, what would it be? It works out in the end, dog.
Yeah.
Man, it
No,
works out in the
it
end, dog.
does. It
Like,
does.
you know,
It
when they
does.
say God or the universe has a plan for you, that that is, I believe that with all my heart, man. It works out in the end. You know, it
Yeah.
works out in the end. And it doesn't end where, because now we're so consumed by the present that we think the present is the start and the end of it all. But actually, life does get better,
Yeah.
you know. So yeah, those were the lessons, man. Those were the lessons. And you asked me, how did I get out? Right? You asked me that. How did I get out or come
Yeah.
back?
Yeah. How did you come back here?
So I meet Tepi in 2015.
That's your wife,
I
right?
think that's my wife. That's my
Yeah.
wife. I meet her 2015. I meet her, I think, around August, September, through a friend of mine, Uzozo. Lovely lady, always in the room. If she's out with a friend. Started getting to know her better. We started hanging out. And remember, I'm a kid of Nessus, right? I don't have food. I don't have um, I don't have money most of the time. So the people I used to chill with, smoke
Sure.
with, and drink with, you know. And if I chow it with friends and all of that. So most of the time we're living hand to mouth, you know.
Yeah.
So there's this lady, I'm enjoying her company, she's enjoying my company, and she starts cooking for me. You know, I think that's how she actually won my heart. I remember the first thing she did for me was I'll never forget this, man. Chicken alakin, right? She made a chicken alakin for me. I didn't want to eat it because everything was so white, and I was like, "Where's the meat?" You know,
Yeah.
like meat is supposed to be a different color. I ate it. I enjoyed that food. Continued enjoying her company. Started making me breakfast. She cared. Started caring about me and all of that and all of that. So through that December we start dating.
Yeah.
Right, December we decide to start dating. December of 2015. Right, and then 2016 I appeal to come back because I was excluded. So I
Yeah.
appealed to come back in that 2015 December period. I appealed. They say, "Cool, we're gonna take you." Right.
Sure.
So when they say they're gonna take me, I'm like, "Okay, cool. Now who's gonna fund me?" NSFAS delays because they still need to review as well their
Yeah.
appeals and all of that. Right. Cool. Then she says to me, "So what are you gonna do?" I'm like, dog, minang pilang okpanda. I'll find my friends that I'll stay with and whatnot and whatnot. You know, she's like, "Okay, cool. But if you're not finding anyone, maybe come through, stay with me," because she stays at BCAT by then,
Yeah.
right?
Wow.
Um, yeah, so wait, I need to put a disclaimer. If Tsepi's mom or Tsepi's family sees this,
Yeah.
I do apologize, guys. I'm sorry, but I want to tell the story because maybe our kids will see this story one day and
Yeah.
they'll get to know how the mom met the dad, you know. But yeah, my wife says, "Look, I'll take you in until Nesfas approves you." So I
Yeah.
start staying with my wife March of 2016. When the schools open, I actually start staying with her. So imagine we are dating for 2 months and already we're moving in together.
Yeah.
Insane, right? So she takes me in, and then Nesfas approves in June. I get my own place. But that place now, I didn't use it because we enjoyed each other's company so much that I didn't want to leave. She didn't want me to leave.
Yeah.
So we ended up renting out that apartment, the other one that I had. So we had people stay there, right? But now, while that is happening, now at least I've given you the background, you know. While this is happening, this woman is focused. I'm spending all of my hours with this woman. She's focused. Understand? You know, it's at that time I think she's doing her third year.
Yeah.
Yeah, chartered accountant, right?
Yeah.
And she's focused. She's always studying. And now I'm spending time with her most of the time now. I'm no longer spending time with friends,
Yeah.
right? So whoever is feeding me nonsense about not doing it in life, how difficult course is, all of that things, and girls and all of that, I can't do none of that no more.
Yeah.
Because I'm accountable to somebody. I need to go home
Sure.
and look at my woman, you know? So she's the one that brings me back to life, my guy. And that's why I'm saying it always works out, because I still say to this day, I attribute all of my success to my wife, because through her, I started to see and believe in a version of me that I am today, right? Because of looking at her work, looking at how she balances things. My wife still has fun and goes out and enjoys her time and space with people and all of that. But when she comes back, she knows that she needs to focus on the priority.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think maybe that's another lesson I learned actually, through the life I used to live, to say, actually, you can do all of it. It's just that you need to somehow strike a balance. Know that on Saturdays I go out, I do all of the going out things. On Sundays, maybe I go out in the afternoon, come back, rest, and then push again to get ready for the week that's ahead. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
another lesson I learned. But I saw that firsthand through my wife. She was balancing life. And now I'm like, I'm dating this woman that's going to be this great. Because understand, right? Everything lies with the process, right? Results are an after effect of going through a process. So
Sure.
I've always known that. And I was looking at my wife going through the process, and I was like, this woman is going to be successful. And if I want to be the husband of this woman
Yeah.
or continue dating this woman, I got to get my shit right, man. And needless to say, the universe conspired and started allowing me to do things. I started studying. I started going to library. I started being serious with my work. So much so that I felt like I had handled things so well that I ended up applying for jobs around June, July, because I knew by then that I'm actually going to graduate.
Yeah.
Because now I'm in this space with Tepi and we are pushing and we are doing everything together, and izinto ziyahamba, you know.
Sure.
And October, no, towards the end of September, I get a call from Investec. Investec says you can come join our CSC team. You will work extended hours. I started working October the 1st for Investec as a CSC while I was completing my degree in mathematics and economics. That December, I completed my degree and I continued working for Investec. So how my life got back, I met an amazing woman that I'm still with now.
Man, this is a beautiful story, bro. I want to be in your wedding, bro. I want to be, like in your white wedding, and I want you to tell this story.
Go see my proposal. Go
I've
see
seen
my
your proposal.
dog.
Like,
have you seen
like,
it? It speaks the story. It tells the story of how I honestly appreciate this woman, dude. If I was a billionaire, I don't know, man. I'll do so much for this woman because I am because of her.
Yeah.
I'm literally who I am because of her. And I keep getting better.
And that's the classic of what a relationship can do to someone. You know, and sometimes I was seeing someone to say, a relationship is so deeper than we think. Like, I think sometimes we approach relationships from like just the physical eye, or just like, we're dating. But that thing is so deep that it can reshape you.
Yeah.
In whatever format that it can, if it's a
Yep.
bad, toxic thing, it will just, and there is I was reading this wonderful study is around neurosciences, and they were talking about how we always readjust to situations, that your subconscious mind it's always recording anything, even the things that you're saying to yourself. And somehow
Yes.
it sort of creates that mentality in you. And that's how we're easily influenced. If you chill with certain people for some time, you start speaking like them even. You start acting like them, but unintentionally, because your subconscious mind is just recording that. It's a beautiful neurosciences kind of a thing. And now think of a relationship, because it's even very intimate. The influence is
very too much, Chief. Bad or good, right? Bad or good?
Very good.
Still the
Very
same.
good.
Better good. Better
But
good.
man, I don't know. I've just found some. I've always respected Tsepi. She has this. She's a very dignified woman.
Yes.
She just had this.
Aura. Yeah.
But now I've just, I think the respect now is going over the roof, because I've never spoken to her that closely. I'll just see maybe in events like, that's Tipi, that's Juice's wife. But now, like, she's gold.
Oh man, that woman, she's diamond. Never mind gold, she's diamond. That woman is everything, man. And needless to say, Ben, I've stayed with my wife from that year to date. And this is always the funny story. I have dated my wife for, I'm using the word dating, right?
Yeah.
For 6 years this year, right? Because it was 20, I think it's 6 years, because 2016, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. Yeah. I've dated my wife for 6 years. We have stayed together for 6 years. I've been dating her for 6 years. We've been staying together for 6 years. Yeah.
You guys are married, like married.
Married. We were married before we were married.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
That's very dope. And
sure.
You just started now that you also had a stint at Investec as an investment banker there. And I think that you're also doing something about UK savings. What was that?
Yeah. So I was in the CSC. So the CSC is Global Support Center, right?
Yeah.
So excuse the background noise. I don't know. Can you hear the people speaking? No.
No, I can't.
Okay. There's a lot of noise in the background, but at least you can't hear it. That's good. So yeah, man. I joined the CSC. Essentially, I was answering calls for.
What is the CSC? Like, is that what is
so it's client support center. So these are the guys that when you call Investec, they answer the calls.
Sure.
So this was you see, the thing is, I really honestly, I don't see it as a call center, but the closest thing to explaining it is actually call center.
Yeah.
Right. But I'll tell you why I don't want to classify it as a call center, right?
Yeah.
It's because my understanding of a call center is that you come in, you answer calls, and after you answer calls, then you go home.
Sure.
Right? You are there answering calls, you go. Investec had a different philosophy that said you answer calls, but you need to also track your progress in terms of the projects you can attribute to making the business better.
Mm-hmm.
Do you understand what I mean?
Yeah.
So you'd meet different people, and you'll be in different meetings speaking about how to better the team, projects that you can be involved in, and all of that, right? So yeah, that's where I started. It was global. It was client support center. I was taking calls for UK clients, so I only dealt with UK clients, not South African clients. But it was the saving side. So all of the UK clients had savings, so I would help them on their day-to-day sort of accounts.
And you were
I
doing
did that for what, 3 years?
Oh, for 3 years.
Yeah.
And you were also doing business analysis there.
Yes.
You were also doing forex transfers, I like to believe.
Yes.
And
Man, my battery's about to die. Wait. Oh, Ben.
yeah.
Okay. Yes, I'm trying to ask you. Yeah.
No problem.
So, yeah, man. So you said I was doing business analysis then, eh?
Yeah. What
Yeah.
does, because you're doing a lot of things, business analysis, I see forex transfers, raising capital.
Yes.
What do you do in terms of business analysis? What was you doing?
So from the business analysis perspective, it was just taking stats of the amount of calls, or maybe tracking the movements of the calls, right? How many calls we're taking, how many calls are people not getting, the reasons behind that, why is it taking long, and all of that, right? And also the other part was understanding the rosters and how people want to work and all of that. So I ended up working with the guy called Daryl, right? And we were trying to kind of like make those sort of statistics easily understandable by people. Yeah, I think that's the best way to put it. Yeah. So, and then raising capital was, you'd have drives where that was interesting. That's some of the stuff I actually miss. So you'd find that we need to raise capital for a certain product.
Sure.
Right. So they will tell us to say, guys, look, because at the time when I was working for savings used to be the team that was funding the private bank side, because the private bank money was moving too quickly. The savings money was moving slow because people put their money for 5 years, 3 years, 2 years. So that money was the one that was used to fund other sort of projects that had to do with Investec, right? So you'd find that if something happens on the private bank side and they need money, it would literally affect the savings side, because it would mean that the savings now need to go on a drive to fundraise and have cash so that they can give to the private bank.
Yeah.
Understand? Yeah. So now what we would then do is would be on calls just trying to entice our clients by increasing our interest rates and speaking to them about the interest rates and trying to take them to give us more money, essentially, and move their monies around from other banks and all of that.
It is very
but that work wasn't.
Yeah.
But the funny part is that work was never technical. So for me, that work taught me the ability to speak to people and present yourself.
Yeah.
It wasn't technical at all. So it had nothing to do with my maths degree, my economics degree, nothing at all. But the ability to sell and the ability to take charge of your own projects and see them through, and the ability to network.
And it's very interesting of how things are so interconnected, and how the financial sector is more about circulation. In fact, when you think about it, it's not about circulation of money.
Yeah.
Which for me is very genius. I'm like, it's just, it just rotates around and everything.
Yeah.
You have a BSc in mathematics and economics from
Correct.
that. And earlier on, you touched on the fact that, the things that you're doing at varsity and now at work, you start to see the distinction or the difference between the two. You can even contrast, What are some of those that you learned in school, at varsity, and when you go to the real world now, somehow they get amplified or is another different ballgame?
I'm not following. Ask it differently, Ben. I'm not following.
So, like, in school we come, learn, like we go to class and everything like that.
Sure.
And after that we graduate and we go and work.
Right? Yeah.
So in most cases, you find that at work and what you are learning in school, like there is that subtle difference, because now you're at work, you're doing the application,
Yes.
And
Yes.
at school, we're just learning the theory. We're not in the real world. You got what I'm saying?
Okay.
So
Okay.
what is the distinction? What are your observations there for you?
Yes. 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 Yes.
And you said yes.
Yes. Yes. Man, I understand what mathematics taught me in the sense of theory, né?
Sure.
Because we used to do a lot of proofs in maths, right? Your
Sure,
BAs and all of that. We used to do a lot of proofs. I am not using none of those things. Even now, if you can tell me about Maths 3, I know nothing because I have never used any of those things.
Yeah.
But I can tell you this, I still appreciate the ability, not maybe the ability, but I still appreciate what these theories allowed my brain to do. Because if you look at it, but what we were actually not understanding is that we were teaching our mind to hold different scenarios of different things, right? So like if you look at the work that I do now, before I do a report, I have about 12 to 13 spreadsheets, or not spreadsheets, but sheets, right?
Yeah.
That I need to attend all of them, and all of them are linked.
Yeah.
So if one on the last one would speak to the first one, which is where I input my data and everything, right? So I need to understand all of them and what they are saying to each other, follow the pattern. One understand?
Sure.
And us cramming those theories and those proofs is the reason I'm able to hold those things and not crack.
Yeah.
One understand?
Yeah.
So it's that. But one thing I'm using a lot is the first year and second year stuff of actuarial science, because I mean, money will always have annuities.
Yeah.
Money will always have the mortality, which is life corn, and all of that. That hasn't gone away. But the math stuff and the economic stuff, nah, man, I'm using none of that. But I still appreciate what they've done to my brain.
You know, I was talking to Pidani. I had Pidani Tilibali on this platform, like I think some 2 weeks ago. He has done a master's in mathematics. He's working for one of the banks there. And so we're talking about what does a mathematician does in a bank. And the way he broke it down was very beautiful, actually. And he was talking about like what is abstract maths. You know, of course, you don't get there and they're like proof. You know, but he was telling me about how his mind is so analytic and so you get into the details of details, because pure math is your mind it's all about mindset. Your mindset becomes locked into this way of thinking in a certain way whereby you pay, like, so he was telling me about how he's working with these formulas and how he's extrapolating some of them and how he's actually coming up with all algorithms to actually track ETFs. And I was like, this is beautiful, man.
It's exactly that, man. And it gives you the ability to absorb patterns quickly. So maths gives you that. That's why the person you're mentioning would be able to pick up different algorithms and work with them at the same point in time. It's because they understand the patterns, right? And if you follow through with the proofs and whatnot, those let x greater than 0, you know, they were forming some sort of pattern and some sort of language that even though you're not using them, you are able to get patterns easily and understand them and be very analytical, as the guy said. Like, it allows you that ability.
There is a student sitting somewhere, I can even imagine in Whiteville, who wants or hears about actuarial science and they want to do actuarial science, and you know, they are there and be like, can I do this? Will I do this? What do I need to do for me to be able to do this? What kind of character and what kind of motive do I need for me to go through this? What subjects must I choose? What should be my mind state? All of those kind of things. Here's a student asking me all of those things. What do you say?
Dude, hey, that touches me personally, dude, you know? You don't need to be smart.